What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am your host, Big Joe, and alongside me, as always, we have my esteemed and humble co-host, Mr. Julio the Don. Tell him what's up, Julio.
What it do, baby?
We got a lot to get into. We're going to talk a couple of topics on fragrance. First, we're going to do our Fragrance Friday review, obviously, like we do every motherfucking week. But
Every motherfucker.
we're also going to touch on a topic that I saw Justin Copeland discussed today on YouTube. I watched this video. Shout out to Justin Copeland. He is a fragrance influencer, and I believe he also does a little bit of jazz playing. He's a jazz musician as well, but he brought up a topic, and I was like, man, I never really thought about that, but that's pretty interesting, and I think it would help a lot of people in the fragrance community, especially people that are newer to the fragrance game. And his question was, well, his statement rather was, why hyped up fragrances let you down? And he brought up a couple of points as to, you know, why it does what it does. And I'm sure he'll do a better job than we do of kind of conveying that message. But I just thought it was interesting, and I figured we give our take on it as well, because we have experienced some of that with these purchases that we make when we're doing these Fragrance Friday reviews and stuff like that. So I figured it'd be something interesting to get into. And we'll end the show, of course, talking about the news that just recently came out that Bill Belichick did not make it as a first ballot Hall of Famer in this year's class.
Craziness.
And don't give it away, but the question will be, was Bill Belichick snubbed? So I kind of feel like I know how you're leaning. Spoiler free until we get to that point.
Yeah.
But let's start off with our Fragrance Friday review. And this week's Fragrance Friday review, we've already done one of the flankers of this line. We covered the Intensely version, and I like the Intensely version of this fragrance. I think this whole line is good for around this time of year when it is a little bit colder. But the flanker that we're going to be discussing today by Emporio Armani is Stronger With You Parfum.
Okay.
And as usual, man, they have beautiful bottles.
For sure.
The cap, very nice. Let's see, the atomizer, check. Not sure if y'all can see that or not.
It's pretty good. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. It's not nothing like that you would write home about, kind of like the ones that we normally look at, like Rayhan or
it's not pressurized or anything like that.
No.
It's not going to give you anything like that, no. But anyway, Stronger With You Parfum by Emporio Armani. Julio, while I get a bit of this water in me, as you can kind of hear, I'm not feeling the best. Can you pull up the fragrance notes for everybody?
Sure, no problem. So as I was looking up this fragrance again, I pull up most of the notes most of the time on Fragrantica. I'm trying my best to go to the original websites now instead of, so that way I could pull up those fragrances, but it's just so quick to pull it up there because it's always the first thing that pulls up. But anyway, in any case, your top notes for this are going to be pink pepper and mandarin. Your middle notes are going to be lavender, sage, and cinnamon. And then your base notes are going to be chestnut, vanilla, and leather. So per fragrantica.com, that's what we're kind of getting, that, you know, oriental forage fragrance is what they say, is what they call it.
Fougere.
My bad.
Yeah. No, you good. Bad. You good.
So, but yeah, those are your notes for that fragrance. Tell us a little bit more about that, though, Joe.
So I like this one more than the Intensely, only because the Intensely is more youthful. It's a little bit louder, in my opinion. It's a little bit more in your face. It's more playful. It's a little bit more flirty. The The parfum, when I spray it, you definitely get that Stronger With You DNA. If you smelled any of the Stronger With You line, they pretty much carry that same DNA throughout. That chestnut in there, beautiful, creamy. This one here is a bit more spicy. It is a little bit more peppery. I guess some of that also comes from the cinnamon that you get in that. But the thing that you really do notice that kind of differentiates it from all the others is the leather note on the dry down, and as I mean, you can smell it in the air, but as it dries down, it gets more prominent. And to me, that leather note, I'm not really a big fan of leather, but just something about this fragrance in particular, adding that leather note kind of tamed it. It toned down that like loud, to me, came across kind of harsh sweetness of something like the intensely.
Mm-hmm.
And this one just kind of refined it. It made it more seductive, a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more mature. But this thing, to me, the leather is it's a dry leather, but it's not like a ashy leather. I know we always talk about it like,
Yeah.
when you get that dry, ashy, like just
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
leather. This is not like that, man. It's smooth. It's not screechy. It's not gonna punch you in the face. You get it in the background, but it's not the star player. It just kind of plays its role. It gives the fragrance some body, some depth.
I
It
like that.
gives it
Yeah.
more of that longevity. The projection on this is phenomenal for at least 2 to 3 hours. After that, it does start to come in a little bit more, but you're not going to have to reapply this at all. The longevity on this, 10 hours plus. You're
Okay.
not going to have a problem with it not projecting. This is something you can wear throughout the day. You walk by somebody and somebody's still going to pick it up, whether it be an hour 1 or hour 8, 9, 10 of your day. You
Wow.
walk
Okay.
by, it's going to leave that sillage because that leather just kind of gives it some more oomph. But like I said, it's not something that is just dominating this fragrance and taking it over and
Mm-hmm.
making it veer so far away from the original Stronger With You DNA. It just kind of sets it in a different path. But it's like, hey, we're still stronger with you, but we're just making it for the more grown and sexy crowd, a little bit more mature. This is not something, if you're in your 20s, I wouldn't necessarily say this is the one you're going to reach for. You might reach for the intensely or absolutely. Um, but
It
if
sounds
you're
like
our
something
age,
that's, to me,
you're
it
you're
sounds like
going for the
it's something more
parfum.
like a date night type fragrance for like a younger crowd, not necessarily, you know, something that you would wear regularly, but something that if you want to, be grown and sexy type of fragrance, that's what you're gonna throw on.
For
Am I
sure.
right?
I
Okay.
kind of feel like this is a special occasion type fragrance, bro.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
something you put on when you want to feel sexy and grown, when you want to just feel like it's something different, right? You have all
Mm-hmm.
these freshies, these
Mm-hmm.
loud, these citrusy, it just kind of bombarding the market, and you're just like,
Yeah.
man, I'm in on that. When you need that change of pace, when you have the colder weather, like us, dog, like we've been in this freezing weather for about a week. This is
Yeah.
perfect for days like that, especially when it's just super cold, because this thing's gonna show out, especially in weather like that.
Okay. Okay. I like that, man. Is this a fragrance that you would say is a year-round fragrance? Is it more of a wintertime fragrance? Can you wear it during the summertime? Is it like a could you use it as a daily driver, or is it something that you're just, yeah, we're saving this only, special night outs, date events, whatever you want to call it, that kind of thing, in your opinion?
Me personally, I would save it for a special occasion, and I would save it for a date night or something like that. I
Mhm.
would not daily drive this. I would not say it's year round at all. This is definitely cold weather.
Okay.
This is something that you might wear it to the office, maybe if it's an office party.
Hmm.
Or if you're not in the office every day, this is not something you want to wear every day to the
Okay.
office, especially in the summer. Do not. I mean, fragrance is subjective and you can wear whatever whenever. I'm not
True.
here to tell you.
True.
I'm
Hmm.
just telling you, to me, you want to keep this in the colder weather, because if you put it on in the summer, it can get cloyingly sweet and you
You
will
get
have
loud.
people
Yeah.
in the office with headaches, dog. Like, it is
Okay.
gonna get headache inducing if you get it in the heat. So I
Wow.
try
Okay.
to avoid that if possible.
Okay. Well, man, I appreciate you describing it for me. Probably something that it sounds like something that I would pick up. I know that we were talking about that earlier before the show, just kind of throwing that out there as I'm building my fragrance collection on my end. For a long time there, for a long period, and Joe can attest to this, I stuck to buying a whole bunch of freshies. So I got a lot of freshies in my collection, like a lot of them. And I'm
Yeah.
getting to a point now, I guess my nose is starting to tune in now, since I'm getting more used to the fragrance game and everything else. Like every now and then I just want something a little different, something to give me that extra, you know, this isn't the same like everything else. This is something completely pushed aside. I think a couple of those fragrances that we threw out there that we have covered before in the past. So if you guys want to check out any of the videos, was something like Rayhan Terra or a Latafa Habik, those type of fragrances that are just, they're unique in their own right. They have a certain fragrance to them that it's not super fresh, it's not super, it just has a unique fragrance, and it smells nice, very very nice. So yeah, man, that sounds like something that's moving towards that avenue, and it makes me want to be like, that sounds like something that now at this point of my fragrance life, I guess you could say, since I started doing this now and collecting now, that I'm leaning more towards. Like, I'm not gravitating anymore towards, oh yeah, let me just try this next freshie and this
Sure.
other freshie and this other freshie. No, I want to see every now and then, I want to get that, that surprise. Oh my God, this smells nice type fragrance. So yeah, I'm gonna
That's
have to
one
be picking
thing
it up.
that I will tell, people that are in the fragrance game, especially if
Mhm.
you're new, is diversify.
Oh, for sure.
Don't
For sure.
stick strictly to, like you said, all freshies. Don't stick to all gourmands.
Hmm.
Don't stick to, blues. Blues are
Hmm.
obviously going to be the safest and most
Yeah.
mass appeal.
Hmm.
So I can understand if someone says, hey, I have a collection of a majority of blue fragrances. I get that, because those are made to be more mass appeal,
Yeah.
but definitely feel free to venture out, to diversify. And what you like, now you may not like a year from now. What you don't like
True.
now, you may like a year from now. It
A
just
hundred
really,
percent. Yeah.
as you continue to develop your nose, it will your taste will change.
Hmm.
And I know I said taste like what I'm saying, but like
We know
what
what you
you
mean, bro.
yeah,
Yeah.
like what
Yeah,
you
we know what you
like
mean.
will
Yeah.
will it'll vary. And that
Yeah.
just kind of shows you that, hey, I'm growing in this fragrance game.
Exactly. And I think
So
that's one of my favorite things about this, about my fragrance journey in particular, is that, like, we talked about this a long time ago, but before, I was always I was a creature of habit, especially when it came to fragrances. So for me, it was always like I always had one cologne and one cologne only that I would always buy. For me, it was Ralph Lauren's Polo Blue. That
mhm.
was my favorite. Beyond all other colognes that I've ever tried, that was one of my favorite colognes. And I always used to have a bottle, a big ass bottle, and that was the only bottle that I had. Every time I go out, that's the cologne that I was wearing. And ever since, me and my boy Joe, we started talking about different fragrances, and I finally, went out on a limb and picked one up. One led to another one, and it was just like a waterfall, like a domino effect of, now I have, I want to say, well over 20 fragrances in my collection now, well over 20 fragrances in my collection, probably more than that, that all of them have a unique scent profile to them. And my scent profile is starting to adapt way more now and to change into something completely different. Because me and Joe talk about fragrances all the time off of camera, and a lot of times because he knows that I love freshies, he'll be like, "Oh, bro, you should try this other freshie. You'll love this because it's a freshie, this and that and the other." And here lately, I'm like, I don't know if I want another freshie. I want something different. I want something that is going to capture my attention. That's going to be like, yes, I want that. So I'm glad that you reviewed this one because it sounds like something up that alley in that space to where I'm going to be like, okay, this is something that I can fucking rock and I can use this and it's going to be nice type deal. So yeah.
For sure, man. And if you can get it on discount, even better. You know, we like to say retail. We don't
Is
do
for suckers.
retail. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like that's unheard of and unfathomable even. But if you can get something like this from a retailer, whether it's something like Frag Flex, a
Mm-hmm.
fragrance by.ca, whether it's Olfactory Factory,
Mm-hmm.
um, I hate to throw this one out just because their shipping is atrocious, but even something like a Joma shop,
Yeah.
if you can find it for a good price and you're willing to wait for Joma shop, uh, then for sure, man, pick it up. I'm not gonna say it's blind buy safe. Definitely try to get your nose on it before you pick it up, especially if you're kind of iffy on the leather or if you're iffy on gourmands.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is both of these. It does have leather and it is a gourmand fragrance. So
Okay.
definitely give them a try. But that was Stronger With You Parfum.